out of YouTube. Um, well, apparently this films much better at night than it does during the day, so plus one. Uh, Jim, James, Mighty Viking Jim, Jim the Viking, Guy Stash, whatever the hell you want to call me, back. Just wanted to give my thoughts on the Balkan Supreme from Wessex in their Brigade series. This is the first time I am smoking any Wessex tobacco. The first time I'm smoking their Brigade series, because, you know, it's the first time I'm smoking anything from them. And, well, not gonna lie, I'm not terrifically impressed. Hmm. It's not a bad tobacco by any sense, in any sense of the word, by any stretch of the imagination. It's decent. It's definitely a solid middle of the road sort of English. But being from Canada, I have to look at things from a cost perspective because I don't know if you are aware of it. In Canada, tobacco can be horrifically expensive. I'm talking 35 bucks for a tin of Frogmorton. Um, so, you know, I got to look at cost. I got to look at not breaking the bank when I want to pick up some tobacco. And I'm not thinking this is going to be worth the $20-ish a tin that it would set me back. That said, if it were half the cost, oh yeah, shit, I'd buy a couple tins of this just to carry around in my pouch, you know, just as sort of an emergency one for when I'm out of squadron leader. Speaking of squadron leader, that is kind of my baseline for enjoyable, for enjoyable Englishes. It's not as lat heavy as a Frogmorton. It's not as smoky and fantastically, brilliantly dark as an Odyssey or anything like that. The squadron leader, but for when you're just kind of starting out on Englishes, that's really my go-to. Um, that's what I would suggest to anybody who is interested in starting Englishes. It is really the sort of the best way to get into them, I think. That's my opinion. I mean, it's all subjective. You might not like Englishes. You might be a Virginia kind of guy or girl. Might be into aromatics. You're looking for arrow Englishes, then definitely give the Frogmorton stuff a shot. On the Town is really, really nice. I do recommend Frogmorton on the Town. But back to, ooh, that's terrible. You can't really see. Ah, there we go. Wessex Brigade Series Balkan Supreme. Still getting the hang of the whole mirror image thing on the webcam. Anyway, smoking it in my Irish-made Army mount Peterson 999. Bent. I really like bent pipes. Just because I can do this, I can do it a whole hell of a lot easier with a bent pipe than I can with a straight. Flavor-wise, there's a lot of toastiness to the whole taste of it. I mean, the whole taste of it is very toasty, very, very grainy. That's probably not the best description, but it has a very sort of almost like barley taste, like smoked barley. If you've ever had smoked barley tea or toasted barley tea, which you probably haven't. I mean, it's huge here in China. It's mostly the tea that I drink when I don't have my acquired, certainly not smuggled, but gifted Earl Grey supply. Um, I would never do anything like smuggle in tea. That would just be foolish. Moving swiftly onward. It's got a nice little smokiness to it. It's easier to keep lit than I'm letting on. I know the last two videos where I've been, well, rather the last one video where I've been smoking it, I've been relighting like mad. But that's because I'm talking. It's all your fault. Anyway, it's got a nice room note to it. Nothing really heavy, nothing really offensive, I don't think. My flatmate doesn't smoke anymore. He doesn't mind the smell of it at all. He used to smoke cigarettes, though, so, you know, like he used to smoke Canadian cigarettes, De Mauriers and shit like that, so he... Right? So, I mean, he knows what offensive odors can come out of tobacco. Not that De Mauriers are terrible by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, if that's what you got, that's what you got, right? You know, if you enjoy it, I'm not going to judge. I mean, I will judge, but I will judge silently. Back to the pipe. Nice smoke production. Not a huge amount of vitamin N, not a huge nicotine kick, but that's not why I really smoke. I smoke for the flavor. It's the same reason I read Hustler, for the articles, right? Yeah, no. Also, I don't read Hustler. Come on. Really? I have some class. Penthouse. That's a joke. Anyway, bad jokes. That's what I do here. Yeah, so it's nice. It's not... It is as mildly inoffensive an English as you can really get. There's nothing really to set it apart from anything else that I've tried. I've tried a bunch of different Englishes. This is any Balkan. Beautiful stuff. Unfortunately, I smoked the entire tin before I got the chance to go with this. This whole YouTube thing. But I'll do a review of that. I've made notes because I think ahead. Do a review of that and some Sam Gawith Best Brown Flake and some Peterson Perfect Plug as well. Those are the 3 tobaccos that I have smoked since I've gotten here in August. I tend to only open 1 tin at a time because I'm cheap and I don't want the tobacco to dry out. Speaking of dry, though, there's something you might want to know about this. The tin I got, phenomenally moist, really, really wet in the tin. This is the insert, the paper insert. Like, look how floppy that is. Was soaked through. Tobacco is sticking to it like mad. This stuff you're definitely going to want to dry out. Let the tin dry for 3-4 hours. That's what I did. Let the thing dry for 3-4 hours with the lid off and the insert out. Got most of the gribbly bits off of the insert and back into the tin. And even then, I let it sit for maybe 5-10 minutes before I light up, just to make sure it doesn't gurgle or anything like that. And still, you can't really avoid the gurgle. Or rather, at least, I can't really avoid the gurgle. Most often with this pipe. I really, really do like the 999 Army mount. For a lot of reasons. One, it's just really neat. Because you can do this and not worry about fucking up your stem. Pardon the French, messing up your stem. I do curse quite a bit. I will try and keep it, mostly classy, or as classy as I'm capable of being. But yeah, you can do this without messing up your pipe or your stem, because it's an Army mount. That, by the way, is the the wonderful music I'm serenaded with every 40 minutes to an hour, from about 6:30 in the morning until 10 minutes after 11, 10 minutes, 15 minutes after 11, depending on how they feel. The school I teach at is right across the street from where I live, which is awesome. These, by the way, are not bars to keep me out. They are to keep things, or rather to keep me in, rather, they're to keep things out. China. Anyway, this has gone on long enough, I think. Um, yeah, the Wessex Balkan Supreme Brigade series, not bad. Not great, but you know, I've smoked worse. I'm not proud to admit that I've smoked worse, but I've definitely smoked worse. Um, I don't know if I'm going to give this like a rating of a 1 to 10 scale or a 1 to 5 or, you know, how many severed digits up, depending on how this thing heals. But if this is what you can get, go for it. There's no problem. I would say if this is the sort of best thing they've got at your local tobacconist, at your local B&M, pick it up. You're not going to regret it. Unless, of course, I mean, like you hate Englishes, in which case, well, you're really out of luck. I've smoked some terrifically rancid tobaccos while I was living in Iceland, just due to the fact that, well, it's Iceland and you got to import everything, and they only import, you know, Rattay's Sunday Fantasy and horrifically dried out McBaron stuff. And even then, I mean, it's apart from the Scottish mixture, but that's another review for another day. Maybe I'll do that once I get back to Iceland. So there we go. All told, not a terribly bad English, not a terribly bad introduction to the whole English world. Yeah, it's decent. It's decent stuff. Pick yourself up a tin if you're curious. If you are curious as to what Englishes are like and you can't, for whatever reason, get your hands on Squadron Leader, really, actually, can't believe I'm going to say this. Pick this up before you pick up Squadron Leader. And I'll tell you why. Squadron Leader will spoil the hell out of you. No, for real, it will. You'll say, Jesus Christ, this is fantastic stuff. It's readily available from pretty much every B&M and every online shop will have, you know, either bulk or tinned versions of it. I bought a pound of the stuff bulk because it's that good. And I brought 200 grams of it. And I like to switch between imperial and real measurements because, well, it's just what I do. Brought 200 grams of it with me to China, and I left the other 250 or so back in Canada, and that should be getting brought with me to Iceland when I get back. But yeah, it's get this before you get Squadron Leader. That way you can kind of ease yourself in. You'll get the little bits of Latakia, you'll get the little bits of the Oriental tobacco sweetness, spice. There's definitely it's not spicy like Perique is spicy. That'll burn your tongue almost, or rather, if you're really sensitive to spice, it'll burn your tongue. For me, it's just like, hey, that's definitely Perique. It doesn't have any of that spiciness, but it's got a definite flavor to it. Yeah, so pick it up first. Pick this up as your first English. You're not going to go wrong. You'll get an introduction to the taste. You'll get an introduction to the whole genre, if you will, the whole type of English blends. And then you can very quickly move on to Squadron Leader because for sure that'll be another review and that'll probably be a half hour of me just singing its praises because that's really what I do. Anyway, yeah. So next video up will probably be me just showing off all my gear. Showing off the pipes. Not these pipes. No, no, ladies. Sorry. I'm sorry. That was uncalled for and terrible. No, but showing off the pipe collection, showing you all the tobaccos I brought with me, and giving you sort of a taste for what will be coming up. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. Happy piping. Again, subscribe somewhere around here, maybe. There'll be a click here to subscribe, or there's a thing down over there, maybe? No, maybe over here. I don't know. There's buttons. There are buttons, and the internet is weird and frightening. And you damn kids, get off my lawn. I remember when I was sending hate mail on Usenets before you were born, you little. Anyway, sorry. Got a little carried away there. Yeah, it's enjoyable. Wessex Brigade series, Balkan Supreme. Not a terrible investment. Not as good as Squadron Leader. Rock on, folk. That was stupid. Why the hell did I even bother doing that?